Hello, welcome back. This is blog number 2. I am currently in PyCharm. So if you have followed the video from the last blog, then you should be at a comfortable place to start where I am right now. And just if you forgot, my name is Andy, and we're gonna use the previous learned lessons from blog 1, and then we're gonna apply it to what I'm about to teach you here. What we're doing today is creating a game application called Hangman. If you're unfamiliar with the game Hangman, then I suggest you go to YouTube or Google and then just play a quick game of that, and I'm sure you'll get it right away. It's quite a simple game. But what we're going to take from the previous lessons are for and while loops, if else, lists, strings, range, and modules. So right now we're going to do step 1, and within step 1 we have 3 different tasks. The first task we're going to do is we're going to randomly choose a word from the word list and assign it to a variable called chosen word. So we're going to do just that. So word. Okay, and in this word list we're going to generate some of your favorite words, whichever it may be, and however many you want. So for me, I'm just going to generate 3 for today's lesson. I like Marvel, so we're going to do, before we move on, I'm just going to fix that. There we go. Iron Man, Hulk, make sure it's in quotations, and Wolverine, because he's pretty badass. Okay, so we have a word list containing 3 different elements, and then we're going to also in order to randomly get an item of the list, we're going to need to import the random module. So if you remember, import random, and once we've got a hold of that, then we can say random choice, and if we put inside the parentheses the list that we want to randomly choose from, then we should be able to get a hold of a single item from this list randomly. And then finally we're going to assign it to a variable called chosen word. Okay, and then assign it to chosen word. There we go. Okay, perfect. So task number 1 is done for step 1. We're going to move on to task number 2. We're going to ask the user to create or to guess a letter and assign their answer to a variable called guess, making sure that the guess is lowercase. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to create an input, and let's say guess a letter to prompt the user to enter a number. And then we want to make it lowercase, so we're going to put dot lower brackets. And then we can assign their answer, which is guess, which will replace this line of code with a variable called guess, and then we'll just set that to equal to guess, and finally we're going to make this guess lowercase, just like we've done here. And then we have completed task number 2. And we're going to move on to task number 3 now. We want to check if the letter the user guessed is one of the letters in a chosen word. So we want to check if the letter the user has entered equals one of the letters within these words. And to do that, we have to somehow check if this letter, which is stored inside the variable guess, matches any of the letters inside. So as I mentioned, I want to draw your attention to the for loop, which we have covered previously. So we know that we can use that loop so we can use the for loop like this to loop through a particular list and get a hold of each of the items in the list. So I'll start that, and then I'm sure it'll start to make sense. And everyone makes mistakes, so you'll probably see me make some typos, but I'll usually, or most likely, go back and fix it. So what I'm doing here is that okay, I'll kind of explain this here. So this is going to go through this chosen word letter by letter. Each time the loop runs, we'll get a hold of one of these letters inside the word. So the first time that letter variable will equal, let's say, A, the next time it will be equal to R, and so on and so forth. So now inside our for loop, we can check to see if the letter that we're currently looking at is double equals to the letter the user guessed, which is this. Well, then that means it's a match, right? And if so, it's going to print right. And if it's not the correct match, then it's going to print wrong. And then we have completed our 3 tasks. And I will run this and show you what this looks like. So it's going to ask me to guess a letter, and of course, just like the random module, it's going to choose a random word out of this list. And then, if you know the basic rules of Hangman, you guess a letter. And looking at how many wrongs there are equates to how many letters are in that word. So looking at this length of this list, this is most likely the word Wolverine. And because there is no A in the word Wolverine, so this is in the place of W. Is it A? No. Is it O? No. Is it L? No. Is it V? No. E? No. And so forth. So A is not in this word, so it's going to print out wrong throughout this list. And there you have it. Step 1 is completed, and then we'll move on to step 2. Okay, so we're back at the code here. We're on step 2. So I've listed a few different tasks for step 2, but we are using the old code that we were using previously, and then we're just adding to it. So what we'll first do, well, before we start anything, I have added this called code testing code, and this is just to give you the user a hint of, or me generally, what the word is chosen by the random choice. And so if I run this, so the solution is Hulk. So this way we can test things and we just know which word is being used, just for the knowledge of what we're using. So I used U because U is in the second position of the word, it's gonna say right, and because it's not in the other positions of that word, it's gonna say wrong. So yeah, so very easy to use and very helpful. So of course we'll start with this. So task number 1, we're going to create an empty list called display, and for each letter in the chosen word, add a underscore to display. So if the chosen word was apple, display should be 5 underscores representing each letter to guess. Okay, so what we'll do now, and create an empty display. For underscore in range, we're going to use the range function. Display underscore. So for each letter in the chosen word, we're going to add underscore to this list. So the simplest way is to use a for loop. Now in this case, we have a choice. And you can also use a range, which we have used. So what we're pretty much doing is for every single letter, we're just simply going to take our list, display, and add an item to it. And that item is going to be a string, underscore. So now if we go ahead and print our display and see what we get, oh, I see what I did. I'm going to make sure you're printing display here. So we'll run that one more time. So the solution is Hulk. And as you can see, there are 4 underscores to this word, each representing each letter. And then task number 2, we're going to loop through each position in the chosen word. So if the letter at that position matches guess, then reveal that letter in the display at that position. So if we chose, let's say, P, and the chosen word was apple, then the display should be P. So the letters are replacing the underscores. So in order to do that, we're going to have to change our code. So for position, in range, word length, we'll leave that here, letter equals chosen word, position. And then if letter equals guess, then we want to display the position with the letter. Okay, task number 2 is done. And now we want to go to task 3. We want to print display, and you should see the guess letter into correct position and every other letter replaced with underscore. So we're going to print display. And now we will run this code. As you can see, the H has now been replaced, or sorry, the underscore of the first place has been replaced by H. But it's also funny how the H is green for Hulk. But yeah, good job. We'll move on to step 3 and we'll continue adding to this. Okay, we're going to continue with step number 3. As you can see, I have moved around some of the code, so as long as your code looks like mine, then you should be in good standing to move on. So in step number 3, there's only one task, but what we'll do is we'll use a while loop to let the user guess again. The loop should only stop once the user has guessed all the letters in the chosen word and the display has no more blanks. Then you can tell the user they have won. So the game, meaning the game will end once all the the underscore blanks have been replaced with a letter. And then we will then tell the user that they have won and the game has been completed. So what we'll do is we'll do a while loop, and to make sure everything is within the while loop, we want to make sure everything below it's indented. So you can individually indent these or just indent them all at once. For me, I'll just do it one by one just to make sure I'm not making anything that could break the code. Okay, so while not end of game. We will keep letting the user guess the letter, but we gotta make sure we create the variable first. And because it's a boolean, put in false. Okay, and what we'll do next is we have to check it. If there are no more underscores left in display, then all letters have been guessed. So we want to print to the user that they have won. As you can see, I made a typo. We'll just fix that real quick. There we are. And if it's the end of the game, then equals true, and then we will print you have won to the user. Okay, and then now we'll run this code and let's see how it works. So the solution is Hulk. So let's say we guess a letter outside of that word. Nothing has been replaced, but let's say we do guess a letter within that word. Then that letter will replace the underscore, and let's complete the replacements. L, K, and once all of those have been replaced, the program will then print you have won to the user, indicating that the game is over and they can restart or however they want. Okay, now we're down to step 4. As you can see, I moved my import random to the top, and here you will see an array called stages, and within this array we have the ASCII art. ASCII is a place where you can grab images such as these, and so art that's created using strokes of the keyboard. And as you can see, that this represents the stages of our Hangman game, starting from where they all have 6 lives, and then going down in lives until they have no more lives. So full body, you lose the leg, another leg, arm, torso, and head, and this represents the end of the lives. And each of these pieces are a single string. So we're going to be printing it out in this step, and we're going to be using it to give the user feedback. So here we are I've moved a couple of variables to the top, and then task number 1, we are to create a variable called lives to keep track of the number of lives left. So variable lives equal 6, and then task number 2, if the guess is not a letter in the chosen word, then we reduce the lives by 1. And if lives go down to 0, then the game should stop and should print you lose. So what we'll do here is if guess not in chosen word, lives is minus by 1. And if lives equal to 0, then end of game equals to true, and then it will print you lose to the player. And then what we'll also do is join all the elements in the list and turn it into a string. And this is how we will do it. Join. display. And then we have task number 3. We want to print the ASCII art from the stages that corresponds to the current number of lives the user has remaining. So what we'll do is we'll print stages corresponding to the number of lives. And then when we run this code, try that back up. So obviously the word is Hulk, but we'll print a letter that's not in that word. So we have a head, we have torso, we have an arm, but let's say we do print a letter within that word, then it will replace the underscore with the letter and the image will not change, meaning we can keep going. Okay, just one more letter left, Hulk. And then it will print you have won and the game is now finished. And let's say we do run all out of lives, so the word is Wolverine. What's not a letter in Wolverine? P. So nothing has been replaced. P. So we should have 6 lives. So far I've inputted 3 times with the wrong letter. 4, 5, 6. Now my lives is down to 0. And saying you lost or you lose. And there we have it. We have the game Hangman, and congratulations on creating your first program that is a game. I hope you had fun, and I hope this was very useful to your knowledge, and that it was entertaining, and that you share this to people that you know. Enjoy. Bye.